The next 3 weeks are from July 27th to August 14th. Something about that moment stayed with me. It was a fleeting detail, a subtle shift in the wind, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I am talking about Ethan Lovett. Ethan is traditionally the smartest guy in any room he walks into. He is a survivor, a grifter with a heart, a man who recently took a bullet to protect Ava Jerome and then immediately tried to leverage the situation to his advantage. He is not someone who gets easily spooked. Yet, the sudden, almost frantic urgency he has to pack up and flee Port Charles right at this very moment feels entirely out of character. At first, it didn't seem important. We just assumed Ethan was dodging another angry ex-lover or a minor gambling debt. But then, you look at the arrival of the mysterious businessman, Hudson. The timing of Hudson stepping off a plane and breathing the air of Port Charles at the exact second Ethan decides the town is too hot for him is brilliant. I keep coming back to the look of sheer, unadulterated caution that must be running through Ethan's mind right now. I don't believe for a single second that Ethan is running away out of pure, cowardly fear for his own life. Ethan has faced down mobsters and international terrorists with a smirk on his face. No, if Ethan is running, it is because he knows exactly who Hudson is, and more importantly, he knows what Hudson is hiding. I can't shake the feeling that Hudson is carrying a secret so toxic, so deeply embedded in the history of this town, that it could drag dozens of innocent and guilty residents alike into a catastrophic mess. Ethan isn't fleeing a man, he is fleeing a walking apocalypse, and he wants to be miles away when the blast hits. As we follow this thread, we have to look at the other major seismic shift happening in town. Jason Morgan has returned for the 16,000th episode, and his homecoming has been nothing short of an emotional hurricane. We watched the visceral reactions. We saw Britt Westbourne, overwhelmed by a cocktail of heartbreak and relief, slap him across the face. We saw Carly Spencer weeping by Jocelyn's hospital bed, leaning entirely on the fact that her best friend is finally back. We saw Sonny Corinthos expecting his loyal enforcer to step right back into the bloody business of the mob. But Jason looked them all in the eye and declared that he is done. He announced that his only priority now is being a civilian father to Danny. The more I think about it, the more that narrative feels like a beautifully constructed lie. Jason Morgan does not simply walk away from the Corinthos empire. It goes against every fiber of his DNA. He spent months in WSB captivity, enduring psychological and physical trials that we can only begin to imagine. Everyone is taking his declaration of retirement at face value, but to me, it feels like the perfect cover story. I keep wondering whether Jason is actually operating on a deeply classified, highly dangerous mission. Announcing his departure from Sonny's organization provides him with the ultimate camouflage. No one suspects the quiet, devoted father of secretly investigating the WSB from the inside or dismantling a massive global conspiracy that threatens his family. Jason is playing a role, and he is playing it flawlessly while the real war happens in the shadows. This brings us to the shadow beneath the story, specifically hovering over the Quartermain estate. The incident at the lake was a moment of pure, unfiltered panic. Nina Reeves, pushed to her absolute psychological limit by a suddenly vocal and provocative Drew Kane, snapped. She pushed his wheelchair into the water. The immediate aftermath was chaos, Giovanni diving in for the rescue, Nina screaming in regret, the frantic SOS sent to Jack Brennan. On the surface, this looks like a tragic loss of control that will result in Nina being blackmailed or arrested. But there is a secondary story unfolding here, one driven by a completely hidden motivation. It doesn't seem accidental that Jack Brennan is the one holding all the cards right now. Brennan has the black box. He has the leverage. The obvious move would be for Brennan to use that critical evidence to hold Nina hostage, forcing her to do his bidding. But Brennan is a master strategist. He doesn't play checkers. He plays three-dimensional chess. Instead of wasting his leverage on Nina, what if he pivots? Brennan knows that Valentine Cassadine is the real prize. By using the evidence not to crush Nina, but to systematically manipulate and corner Valentine, Brennan can alter the entire power structure of Port Charles. If Brennan takes this route, it means that every single plan Willow and Nina have painstakingly put together is going to unexpectedly and spectacularly collapse. Willow believes she is managing the Drew situation. Nina believes Brennan is her savior. But they are both standing on a trapdoor, completely unaware that Brennan's true target is Valentine. The fallout from this manipulation won't just ruin their immediate schemes, it will shatter their personal lives, leaving Willow completely exposed to the legal and moral consequences of her actions. Maybe there's another layer here when we look at the younger generation. Trina Robinson is currently stepping into a beautiful new chapter. Her musical performance with Giovanni Palmieri was a triumph, opening doors to influential executives and a promising future. She has explicitly asked her parents, Portia and Curtis, for space so she can avoid their endless drama. But while Trina is standing in the spotlight, someone is lurking in the dark. The stalker trailing Trina is a terrifying presence, but I keep coming back to a very specific theory. What if we're missing something fundamental about this stalker? It is entirely possible that Trina is not the actual target. Trina is beloved, connected to powerful families, and highly visible. She is the perfect proxy. I suspect that this unseen figure is using Trina as a conduit, a convenient window to track and study someone else entirely. By the time the people of Port Charles realize that Trina is just a pawn being used to get to a much more dangerous target, it is going to be far too late to stop the impending violence. As we navigate the middle of this labyrinth, the tension is undeniably growing with the arrival of Serena Baldwin. Serena isn't just dropping into town for warm hugs and nostalgic coffees at Kelly's. She is walking straight into the corporate war zone at Deception. With Maxie offering her shares to Michael Corinthos, the boardroom is a powder keg. Serena is going to clash directly with Michael. But this isn't just about business. The friction between Serena and Michael is going to generate unexpected, fiery, romantic sparks. And this is where Jacinda enters the frame, playing an incredibly dangerous game. Jacinda is hyper-focused on her rivalry with Willow. She is dedicating all her energy to finding a way to permanently eliminate Willow from Michael's life. But Jacinda is so blinded by her jealousy and her desperate need to win that she doesn't see the larger board. If she continues on this path, her plan is going to backfire with devastating consequences. Not only will Jacinda push Michael directly into the waiting arms of Serena, but she is also unknowingly painting a massive target on her own back. Jacinda thinks she is the predator in this scenario, but she is wandering right into the crosshairs of a massive conspiracy that she doesn't even know exists. The growing tension isn't just confined to the boardrooms and the mob safe houses. It is seeping into the legal foundations of the city. Rick Lansing has returned, and we see him quietly observing the growing closeness between Dante Falconeri and Elizabeth Baldwin. It would be easy to assume that Rick's primary storyline will revolve around a messy love triangle. But I can't shake the feeling that romance is the absolute least of Rick's problems right now. Rick is a legal shark, and he smells blood in the water. Look at Alexis Davis and Diane Miller. They are currently drowning under a mountainous workload. The conventional wisdom is that their law firm is simply understaffed. But I don't believe that for a second. The sheer volume of legal panic happening right now is a harbinger. I think a massive, unprecedented legal secret is about to be unearthed. We are looking at the preparation for a town-wide indictment or a sprawling class action lawsuit that will drag dozens of residents into the light. The WSB cover-ups, the hit and runs, the corporate espionage, it is all converging into a single, devastating legal storm. Rick is going to have to push his romantic feelings for Elizabeth entirely to the side because he is about to be consumed by the biggest case of his career. Something feels deeply unfinished about all of this. The next 3 weeks are not just about happy reunions or fleeting summer romances. The pieces we are seeing on the surface are merely the opening moves of a much darker, much more complex game. Jason Morgan's fake retirement, Jack Brennan's calculated manipulation of Valentine, Hudson's apocalyptic secret, and Serena's explosive arrival at Deception. These are the crucial chess pieces that are about to unlock an entirely new narrative landscape. Meanwhile, the intricate relationships holding Michael, Willow, Nina, and Jacinda together are going to be violently overturned by secrets that have been festering in the dark. We are walking down a very long, very dark hallway, and with every step, a new, terrifying detail comes into focus. Port Charles is standing on the precipice of an era defined by profound betrayal, shocking unpredictability, and reversals of fortune that absolutely no one can see coming. The storm hasn't even started yet, and I have a feeling we are all going to be swept away when it finally breaks.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.